My aunt tried to announce her daughter's pregnancy at my baby shower for my rainbow baby. I'd posted this originally on Am I the Asshole and had been told that this would fit perfectly here, since my aunt is the entitled parent. My husband and I are finally expecting our rainbow baby after years of infertility and multiple miscarriages. It's safe to say we and our family are very freaking excited. My mom is probably the most excited. She's been planning our baby shower and making decorations for months. She's been the biggest help during this exciting yet scary pregnancy. A few weeks ago, my aunt told my mother and I that my cousin is pregnant. We are very happy for her. However, my aunt said their plan is to announce her pregnancy at my baby shower, since we are having a big party anyways. She said it's not a big deal and we both can share the day. I said absolutely not, because we have been waiting for this day forever and it should be all about me and my rainbow baby. My mother is on my side and told my aunt that they better not announce anything at the party. My aunt dropped it and nothing else was said. Last Saturday was my baby shower. It was everything I've waited for. Everything is going good. No one has announced my cousin's pregnancy. When it was time for us to eat my cake, my aunt said, hold on everyone," and went outside to her car to grab something. That was the moment I knew something was up. My mother and I follow her outside, and my aunt decided to bring a cake announcing my cousin's pregnancy and some presents for my cousin. My mother immediately told my aunt that she will not be bringing those back into the rec center and they will not be ruining my day. My aunt started throwing a fit, screaming, "This is a baby shower. It's for babies. Cousin is having a baby too, so this day should be about her too." My cousin now joins the screaming and says how pissed off she is that everything is always about me and why do we always have to be happy for me. They would not stop screaming, so they were kicked out by the rec center's security, and half our family was upset that I wouldn't let her have a moment at my shower, so they left too. Now everyone is bashing my mother, myself, and Rainbow Baby on Facebook. Group family texts, anything at all. That's what we got. There is an update though. Some people have asked for an update, and this is the type of update I never wanted to make. I'm truly heartbroken. First off, my beautiful baby girl came into the world 3 weeks early on June 15th. We have been so excited and are enjoying every minute of her. She's doing amazing and has already grown so much. Now the update on my cousin and aunt. On June 16th, the day after my baby girl was born, my cousin texted our family group chat and said she had a miscarriage. I was so sad for her, and despite still being upset with her, I told her if she needed anything to call me and I would be there for her. I spent hours crying for her, with her, and talking her through everything. Her feelings, my feelings, how I was able to cope with multiple miscarriages. She came over a lot, holding on to my baby, crying. I saw a change in her. She seemed so sincere. Well, all caps, my cousin lied. She was never pregnant. Apparently, a few days after her miscarriage, my cousin told her mother, my aunt, that she was loving all the attention she's getting and that she lied about ever being pregnant. She said she can't wait to magically get pregnant with her rainbow baby soon and get even more attention. A few days ago, my aunt made a comment about it to my grandma, and my grandma was very upset. My aunt said not to tell anyone, especially me, since I'd be so dramatic about it. She said it wasn't a big deal and everyone needed their time to shine, aka my cousin's future rainbow baby. Of course, my grandma told everyone, and I am so heartbroken. Now, I really don't know if my aunt did or did not know she lied to begin with. My aunt doesn't even care that she lied, and her behavior afterwards was disgusting, so I'm leaning more towards she knew all along and was in on it. However, we have all, not 100% sure about my grandma, cut ties with my aunt and cousin. I cannot believe someone would stoop so low as to lie about being pregnant, then miscarrying, then having a rainbow baby, all for attention.
Am I wrong for refusing to pay for my wife's cosmetic surgeries despite paying for my ex's while we were married? My wife and I, both 32, have been married 2 years now. My ex and I were married from 21 to 24. I paid for her cosmetic surgeries at 23 when I got a big sum of inheritance. We divorced because we fell out of love, and I met my now wife at 26. Dated her until I was 30 and then married her. My wife and I are planning on having our first and only child. I used most of my inheritance when I bought our home, and I put the rest towards an investment account that'll be our retirement money and part of the college fund for our kid, and towards an emergency account. We share finances, we both work, and we live comfortably. We are really planning for this child. My wife will take 3 years off to take care of the formative years of the baby, and I'll be the breadwinner. We will start trying next year because we want to save as much as we can for the baby's necessities. 2 days ago, she sat me down and said that she's been thinking about how having a baby might alter her body in ways she won't like. She says that she's putting all the risk into the pregnancy, body alterations, childbirth, risk of dying, while I'll be putting none. So she wants to be compensated for it. She wants me to pay out of my own pocket, not our joint account, for a few surgeries, most likely lipo and a breast lift a year after the birth. This is in case her resultant body is something she dislikes, and she said that she wants to make a contract and everything to make sure I don't back out. She repeated herself that this surgery will only be in case her resultant body is not of her liking. Thing is, aside from the emergency fund I have and our savings for the baby, I don't have any money for that. I told her as much, and she said I could take a loan or something to pay for it. When I tried to protest, she reminded me how I paid for my ex's surgeries despite having no kids with her. I said it wasn't fair because even if she was asking 2 years before, I'll most likely not have any money since we are still saving for our kid, and I'll have to put all of our money towards the house and our care while she's a stay-at-home mom. She said I should think about it, but I said my answer was a total no, and she called me an asshole.
When I, 37, was 17, I got my then girlfriend, 16, pregnant with twin boys. Her parents didn't want the babies to ruin her future, so they said that I had to either take them or give them up for adoption because she was not raising them. I wanted to give them up, but my parents told me not to. For the first 7 years of my boys' lives, I didn't act like a father and was more like a big brother. They knew I was their father though, we just never bonded like father or sons. When I was ready to move out, I wanted to do it without them, but my dad let me know that it was my responsibility, so I had to take them. I didn't want it at first, but I'm glad it happened. We started bonding as father or sons. I started loving them and their love for me increased. I remember the three of us would sit on the couch and watch movies. One would sit on my left and one on my right while I wrapped my arms around them. They'd put their heads on my chest and I often kissed their forehead. We've been doing this since they were 7. I met my current wife 5 years ago. My kids were 15. We married 3 years ago after we welcomed our daughter, 4 female. She saw me doing this with my kids when we watched movies and she never said anything. My kids are no longer living with us because they left for college, but they come to see me every now and then. My boys are 20 and still like to put their heads on my chest while I wrap my arms around them. My son, Liam, visited me 2 weeks ago. He came out to me as gay and introduced me to his boyfriend. I don't care how my kids live their sexuality or who they love. I love them no matter what. I just want them to be happy and I don't feel any different. It doesn't make me feel uncomfortable to hug him or kiss him on the forehead, but it seems that my wife is a little uncomfortable. My son visited me again last Wednesday. Since he was here 2 weeks ago, so the first time officially out, I was watching Red with my daughter. She was on my left. Then my son Liam arrived. He was tired and sat on my right. Put his head on my shoulder while I wrapped my arm around him. Then I kissed him on the forehead and said, "Good to have you back, buddy." We went to sleep and the next day my wife told me that it made her feel uncomfortable, me hugging and kissing my son, and asked me not to do it again while she doesn't mind me doing it with Lucas, my other son, straight. She doesn't want me to do it with Liam. I told her that she has no business being in my relationship with my sons, and I also called her homophobic. She accused me of not treating her like an equal parent to my sons, thus I said, that's okay because you're not. My brother says I should understand because this is a big change for her, a son coming out, but seriously, I think there is nothing to get used to. This isn't neither her nor my problem who my son loves. Am I the asshole for not treating my wife like an equal parent by telling her she has no say in the way I bond with my son and also calling her homophobic?
Story time about when I used to work at Northgate here in San Diego. Okay, before I started working there, I was doing pretty good in life. I had my first car, I had my boyfriend, but when I had lost my job and my boyfriend, that's when I started working at. I was 19 at this time, and working there, I worked in the kitchen area. It was pretty good. I noticed that there was a lot of teenagers my age, and then it wasn't like in the middle, like either there was like young people and then there was super grown. This at all just because it was my last choice, and because the night crew, I used to work at the night crew, so my schedule was UEI college because I had dropped out of City College. It was UEI from 10 to 3, and then I would take the bus. It was 2 buses from 5 all the way to 10. That was my work schedule I didn't really have a choice back then. I wasn't looking nowhere else. Literally Northgate was like a couple minutes walking from my house, and there was 2 crews. There was the morning crew and the night crew. Obviously from 5 to 10, that was the night crew. That crew was like the best. We had a lot of fun. I used to help my coworkers so much with like the big machines. It was so funny. They were one of the coolest mother friends you can have, and I honestly enjoyed working there so much. I wish I still had that job, but I had to quit because I finished school and I had a full-time job somewhere else. But there was a lot of drama. Instantly, when I started working at Northgate, I literally told everyone, look, I'm not gonna stay there for long. I'm not gonna be there. Like, I'm going to school. They would see me when I would get to work. I had my scrubs on from school. And I told them since day one, I'm not the type to be in drama, period. Like, there was no little drama here. No, like, no drama at all. And they were all about drama, but it was okay. Like, I didn't care. They were still my friends, and that was morning crew was something else. That's what I would hear. And so during this time I was struggling so much. But I told them like, hey, I'm not gonna be here for long, but just know I'm struggling. So obviously I'm not gonna take no time off. Like I'm not gonna be on some bullshit. I'm gonna come here and work. So a couple months passed by, and I noticed that I'm one of the youngest ones, and there's also a really young girl who works there. Me and her were so there was this really young girl working there. We actually went to school together. She was a year older than me. So when I got there, she was in the morning, I was in the afternoon. We never came across each other, which was fine. And there was a couple times we did, and we would talk here and there. She was the type that she wanted to like be in the upper in that store, like the upper people, like representatives, I don't know what. And that was totally fine. She knew that I went to school, and I would just talk to her sometimes and just tell her like, hey girl, like you don't want to study, like you don't want to go to school, like why do you want to stay here? And she was just like, oh, it's my choice, like I don't really feel like going through all that hassle. And I was just like, okay. And this really this didn't bother me until she had like this supervisor, her morning supervisor. She was a trip, she was something else. She was super strict, and there was times where like she would want to like get our attention and like talk to us in like a big group, which was fine. But sometimes she was trying to like sneak this, and I would make faces. Like I did have a little attitude, but never that disrespectful type. And what would bother me is that the young girl would be there and like basically just be her puppet. And that was really. And also there was this one guy that happened to be her boyfriend. He worked at the tortilleria department, and I guess they were talking, and she found out that like he would try to talk to me sometime. And remember, she was in the morning and I was in the afternoon. I didn't know about them, to be honest. But I noticed that he was kind of cute, but I never wanted to talk to him like that. Like I said, I didn't want any problems with no one. I didn't want to make friends, you know. I was broke. I didn't have time. I just wanted to be about my work and school, and about helping out my mom. Like that was my only focus. Like this girl, I liked her because we were both the same age. I didn't want trouble with no one, but this girl would just like kiss ass to the boss, and that was okay. But like, don't bother me, you know. That was my only problem. Like, don't bother me. Don't try to make me any less. Like I said, I'm not gonna be here for too long. You can keep this position. Like I said, what was so messed up is that guy knew that me and her like kind of drifted away, and he made it worse by talking to me. And then the rumors got to, she ended up breaking up with him. She never confronted me because pretty girls don't do that. We don't fight over men. But there was just always something like a tension between us. Like I said, that was the last thing I needed. Problems with, you know, a girl my age. I didn't want that. We were both like into makeup. We were both really pretty. We were like one of the prettiest girls working there. So I didn't want problems, especially because of a boy. And uh in like a couple months later, we did talk about that, and we just like chit chatted here and there again. About 5 to like 6 months, I am already done with school, and I never called out. And I didn't have that choice because they were super strict on us. So I never had that choice to call out. And by the end, when I was about to quit, I did call out like 3 times, and bad happened. I just never went back there. Ooh, if I had the chance to work there again, I kind of would, because time would fly. The holidays were like so much fun. It was so much work, and there was so many people going to Northgate during the holidays. It was crazy. I find it just so crazy how sometimes like people, and it just wasn't the guy who was trying to give us problems. It was like other people were going around like saying, hey, like she's talking about you, or like just wanting us to have problems. And funny how we never really did at the very end. When I first started working there too, I noticed that they thought I didn't know how to speak Spanish, but I did, and they were so surprised. They were honestly so impressed by like a really young 19-year-old. They saw how hardworking I was, and literally they were like one of the coolest friends ever. And they would just be like moms, they would be like, they told me like, hey Leland, ever since you started working here, like, you're not about drama. Like, you're the first one who's not into drama. And I'ma always remember that. I always appreciated that lady who told me that. So yeah, that was my second hustle. I'm pretty sure there was more drama. I just don't remember it. I remember more with the young lady because that did get to me because we were so young and they really wanted us to have problems. Siobhan.
Am I the asshole for not letting my daughter choose the theme for her birthday party? I, 29, am the mother of my daughter Kira. She just turned 6 this past weekend and we had a party with her extended family and friends. Unfortunately, the party was less than her expectations and she hasn't shut up about it, and I'm afraid I might have done something wrong. A few weeks ago, before buying themed invitations and decorations, I asked my daughter what she wanted the party's theme to be so that I could buy the themed invitations and decorations. She said she wanted an Isabella themed party, the name of the minor character in the recent Disney DVD Encanto. I tried to dissuade her from this idea for 2 reasons. Reason 1, which I told her, is that there probably wouldn't be many decorations to buy centered around that character. Reason 2, which I did not tell her, is that I would have intense secondhand embarrassment and surely feel judged by my family, who definitely wouldn't be familiar with such an obscure and uncomfortably recent Disney installment. I decided on a compromise, that we'd have a Disney princess themed party with all the princesses rather than just one. Much to my daughter's dismay though, when the decorations arrived, we determined that none of them featured Isabella. She also wanted me to have her at least dress up as Isabella, but Reason 2. Ultimately, Kira was completely unhappy with her Disney party and the guests weren't much happier. Kira's school friend's mom confronted me after asking my daughter why she had been crying the whole time and in short gave me hell for my party planning decisions. My mother, Kira's biological grandmother, offered to throw a party at her own house the next day and she'd buy every Isabella thing she could find at the store, on one condition, that she bring my daughter and I don't show up at all. But I declined and kind of faked a seizure to avoid any further attacks because I was just completely exhausted. Everyone left while my daughter's face was covered in cake and tears, but mostly anger. I was just trying to do what was best for both my daughter and myself, but everyone ended up disappointed in me.
This is the story time of how my hot girl walk turned into me in the back of a cop car. Let's unpack. Average day. I'm wearing a workout set. I'm going on a hot girl walk. I'm walking on a trail where people should be able to walk freely. I also have headphones on, but I'm on the phone with my mom the entire walk. So here I am, walking, and I instantly get a bad vibe. I instantly feel I should have listened to my gut, but I'm an idiot, so I kept walking. I then see this man on a scooter. And the only way I could describe it is that he was looking at me as if I was naked. If you're a girl, you know the look, and it's fucking creepy. I keep walking, he goes by me a couple times, and I'm like, maybe you're just being paranoid. This is where it gets interesting. Okay, you're the man, this is a bush, this is me walking, and this is quite literally the actual distance. He's just standing beside a bush? No. He's literally like this, pants on the ground, penis out, phone recording me in one hand, and the other hand's like, you know what he's doing with his junk. There's about 5 seconds where he's jerking off and he's like, and I'm like, ooh,